Gurubhyo Namaha, respected President of the occasion, Jilli sir, eminent audience. Neither time nor the language would do justice to what I am trying to do, summarize the 3 days proceedings here and share what has been the learning experience. So this is an ACPR Belagavi along with the Ministry of Culture, Government of India, supported 3-day national conference on the life, literature and works of Gurudev Dr. R.D. Ranade in the context of comparative philosophies and religions of the world. There have been multiple sessions. Allow me to present the essence of the sessions that were presented here. Over 50 eminent scholars, academicians, philosophers, and thought leaders, over 20 sessions, 2 cultural evenings, a cultural presentation, a youth conclave, an extraordinary experience of hospitality, 32 plus select works on Gurudev's philosophy, and an inestimable treasure of Swanubhava in the path of realizing one God, one world, and one humanity. I am very, very privileged and honored to present the essence of the learnings of the 3 days. The event was inaugurated on 11th Wednesday, starting with a beautiful rendition of Nirguna Bhajan by Srishti Bhagyavadi. In the inaugural address, Professor C.M. Tyagaraja, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Rani Chennamma University, presented and connected beautifully, giving an amazing beginning to the event. And he started with a note that it's very unfortunate that there is no philosophy course for students across any programs, which is sad indeed. But that emerged a very fundamental question in me. Today, the highest learning or education degree is called PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. So we are doctors of philosophy, but we don't study philosophy. There's a fundamental contradiction. But maybe philosophy is a process of learning itself. But then there is a need to develop a course on philosophy across all programs. As stated by Tyagaraja sir, philosophy is about an inward journey, finding a purpose, the inner calling and an inquiry, which indicates devotion. Bhakti, he referred to as the bliss divine. The AI, the artificial intelligence, converted the world, and we are carrying a mountain, a fire in the mountain in our head. We are all running towards where nobody knows. Therefore, Sir propounded that we develop the concept of understanding of Dharma, Viveka, Satya, Jnana, and the essence of all it in the Guru. The message transformed itself into a beautiful meditation where he demonstrated how to look inward, connect to oneself. After which, we had a former professor of philosophy, Professor Paneer Selvam from the University of Madras, a doyen in the realm of philosophy, very readily agreed to collaborate with RCU, develop a course on philosophy. He presented that comparative philosophy is intercultural philosophy. God realization is a culmination of the spiritual journey. Philosophy is a doctrine of approximation, a gradual process. Developed the concept of spirit on philosophy of spirit. Referring to Dr. R.D. Ranade, he said his sense of experience was so advanced that he developed a concept of spiriton to refer the divine experience. Professor Paneer Selvam referred. Rational mysticism is a unique prophetic or a cosmic vision of regeneration. The assimilation of bliss is God intoxication state. Dr. Paneerselvam said, the self merging with the God. Vedanta, therefore, is a culmination of thought. It combines, Dr. Paneerselvam, through his work, also stated that Ranade's work combined psychology with philosophy. After which, we had a beautiful personal exposition by Sri Arvind Jatti, carrying a legacy of being the son of only president of India from Karnataka, a rank holder in engineering, and a globally recognized entrepreneur. Sri Arvind Jatti stated that his primary and the most proudest identity is that he heads the Basava Samiti and is expounding the philosophy and prophecy of Basavanna. Very happy to know that Vachana Sahitya is being translated across all languages in the world, and presently over 40 languages in the world have been translated thanks to Basava Samiti under Sri Arvind Jatti. He expressed a concern that the world is in a crisis. Humanity should be the religion. God is both a microcosm and the macrocosm. He very beautifully propounded that Kudala Sangama is essentially a union of the internal and the external. He exhorted the youth and student to chat with the spirit. You are experts in chatting, but whom are you chatting with? Please try to chat with the spirit. That was the understanding. Spirit, as in your own inner self. Sri Aditya Abhayankar, a young scholar, an extraordinary combination of a technocrat and a philosopher from Savitribai Phule University of Pune, presented philosophical innovation through works of R.D. Ranade. He stated that tradition is the addition which overcomes the orthodoxy. The survey which Dr. Ranade followed is a synthetic method to overcome Western bias. He propounded five important propositions. He said, Upanishads are discovery, not doctrine. It's a result of jijnasa, asking questions and dialogues. Everything from Ashtavakra Gita to Bhagavad Gita is a result of a conversation. So, therefore, philosophy is about a dialogue, not a doctrine. Metaphysics is a lived consciousness and experience. It's introspection, not speculation, he stated. Unity without erasure is totalization. It's an integration. It's not about fragmented pluralism. Liberation, he stated, is cognitive clarity and not a metaphysical escape. Please allow me to state this. Each of these words have a thousand interpretation and a beautiful theory in itself. He also stated, Aditya Abhyankar stated that philosophy as a cross-cultural practice than a cultural possession. And he brought in a beautiful equivalence between Tilak and Ranade, two alumnus of Ferguson College, and stated that one became Lokamanya, the other became Gurudev. And with that ended the day one. There were parallel sessions. Allow me to state that there were multiple sessions going on, and I present what was presented on the stage. The first plenary session by Professor Balaganapati Devarakonda from Delhi University presented initially stating that this is not a conference, this is a festival. And he stated, duly thanking Sri M.B. Jirli sir, all his efforts is reflected, and he stated that maybe Jirli sir is a chosen one to continue or propagate this divine task. Philosophy as a lived experience, and wherein he states that Gurudev Ranade is the philosophy, the philosopher, and the practice all merged into one. There is a Western perspective that Indian philosophy is mummified, it's a mummy, but Gurudev presented Indian philosophy as decisive and progressive. Rational mysticism is a space to have our own understanding of experience. Philosophy is the path. Concluding his talk, Professor Balaganapati stated that today, perhaps, or tomorrow, he has a session on palliative care and philosophy. He was just about explaining the curing power of philosophy. So that's the way philosophy is emerging in curing even physical and mental illness. Sri Professor Bhima Kumar of Allahabad University presented that saints, as reflected in the life of Gurudev Ranade, are lighthouses for the ocean of life. Gurudev's life itself is a sadhana. It was a very touching moment when Bhima Kumar sir stated that Gurudev's chair is still worshipped in Allahabad University for as a sacrosanct, a monument. And he also stated that Gurudev is a Panini of spiritual life. In fact, one of his references stated that Professor Ganganath Jha, the then Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University, invited Gurudev Ranade. Gurudev Ranade did not accept the invitation readily. He was in his own confusion whether to accept it. Then it is believed and recorded that Professor Ganganath Jha stated that you allow us to record you as one of us for 1 year, and you may leave us later. You may need not even teach, but we want your presence here. This indicates the kind of stature Gurudev exhibited or Gurudev had in the times or in his contemporary times. And finally, Bhim Kumar sir presented stating that it provides, Gurudev sir's work provides intellectual clarity with integration of Indian and Western thoughts. The round table, which saw Dr. Suryakant Maharana, professor from Allahabad University, presented Gurudev as a personification, evolution of the concept of teacher as a guru. He stated that being from Allahabad, which is Prayagraj, he comes from a place which is known for confluence, and so is Gurudev, a beautiful confluence of Indian and Western thoughts, realizing God in a rational way. And he presented a beautiful word called Anandism. Rational mysticism is a path to joy. He calls it Anandism, deriving from Satchidananda. God realization, self realization, And he also stated that the future belongs to philosophers because they should be showing us the way. Pranav Ambardekar, a young professor of philosophy from Flame University, presented a highly metaphysical concept about avatarhood and Gurudev's expositions on them. He presented through metaphysical, philosophical, and figurative mirrors, and he also presented about the various ways of understanding avatars as seen by Dr. Gurudev Ranade. Sri Mangesh Kashyap, an environmentalist and activist, presented a topic on sustainable consciousness in the age of AI. He, in fact, started his talk by saying that his equation with Gurudev is of one of romance, a romantic involvement with the inner quiet, he stated. And he stated what Gurudev propounded was the knowledge of the knowledge, life of life itself. He called Gurudev the Paramarth Panini, and he stated beautifully, healing through self-awareness is about Swanubhava Chikitsa. He gave a lot of importance to how in the age of AI, ethics, discretion, wisdom to discriminate is very important. And to answer one question, he said, the mind should be open with your own discretion as to what to allow to come in and what not. So that was about Dr. Mangesh Kashyap. On day 2, we started with, in the initial session, Mokshat Manandaji Maharaj of Ramakrishna Mission Ashram of Belagavi, a beautiful session where he presented two unique contributions of India to the world. One is prana, that is Chaitanya, and the other one is consciousness, life itself. He started his session with Swami Vivekananda's quote of Arise, Awake in Connecting to the Youth. His talk was very, very connecting to the youth. He's talking about referring to the present addiction to mobiles and technology and how to overcome that. He stated beautifully, joy emerges from the infinite, the Ananta. He combined the Ananda emerging from the Ananta, and meditation is the experience of the infinite within. Professor Sri Kala Nair of Sri Shankaracharya University, Kaladi, Kerala, presented a highly researched work on Gurudev's expositions. The dimensions of Gurudev's philosophy needs to be understood as a plan and a foundation to build on. She stated that it's a metaphysical inquiry beyond the ephemeral, seeker of inter-school dialogue as a constructive method. Gurudev always sought for an inter-school dialogue. Gurudev believed, as Madam stated, that maintaining fidelity for the text and sought meaning straight from the text and not through inferences. In fact, she referred one statement, says that Shankara is dear, but truth is dearer. So therefore, going, as Gurudev stated, going directly to the text to understand the truth. He believed that philosophers are lampposts and thoughts are to become actions. And there, Madam connected that Gurudev founded ACPR because thoughts have to become action. Pragmatis, she referred. Rational mysticism is an empirical experience. The reasoning has its limitations, and jnana is an illumination through intuition. Gurudev Ranade did not get the importance he deserved, but was prophetic and one of the greatest exponent of India's philosophy, as he believed that East and West shall meet in India. She widely referred and also compared the works of Gurudev with Bergson, Adil Bilgrami, Wittgenstein, and Alvin Plantinga. Day 3, we had a beginning with Ashok Poddar sir's welcome address and Miss Purvi's invocation, and we had a very, very enriching session by Sri Dr. Vinay Sahasrabuddhe, former head of ICSSR. Started by saying that 140 years after his birth, we are celebrating Gurudev Ranade's thoughts today, and he stated that S. Radhakrishnan considered Gurudev Ranade slightly elevated or equal to him essentially because Gurudev represented the best of Indic thought, and he not only represented it but also sought to find a place for the Indic thought to the world. Presented the confluence of thoughts, a journey with intellect, emotions, will, and intuition, compared it with other comparative thoughts. Very beautifully presented that rational mysticism is reasoning with experience. It's trans-rational. It's reason and faith. In fact, going ahead, he stated that lack of self-consciousness among Indians led to the colonization over thousands of years. A comparative contribution of Buddha, Ambedkar, and Deen Dayal Upadhyay's integral humanism along with Gurudev's work in stating that India should be Vishwa Mitra, not trying to be a condescending Vishwa Guru. Importance, very beautifully presented 5 important concepts, crises which are being faced today, which has lessons through Gurudev's work. Crisis of identity. Who are we? Let's try to self actualize and realize that. The crisis of purpose, Antyodaya, trying to look at the deprived and helping them. The crisis of authenticity, let's try to understand everything through Pramana, Pratyaksha, and crisis of ownership. Let's be conscious. It's Gurudev, Guru, Swami, sense of ownership and responsibility. And crisis of relationship with people, world, nature, and society. One world, one God, one humanity will solve and give us a perspective. So that was a comparison in trying to help us. Dr. Ashwini Mokashi from Oxford University, release of her book Kabir on Philosophical Counseling. It's a beautiful to understand that counseling is a very important need, and how Dr. Mokashi looked at Kabir's and old philosophical texts as source of counseling. Experience of communicating detachment through empathy. She even said that along with a colleague developed the concept of Kabiriyat based on the experience, and also aided in this effort was her own traditional upbringing in the school and under the teachings of Gurudev Ranade. And Dr. Mokashi presented on Kabir on Bhakti and ethics as a lived philosophy with a beautiful comparative understanding. Both presented Nirguna Bhakti as an experience of universality going beyond distinctions. Bhakti is a lived experiences, enhance ethical life through spiritual practices. Very happy to state that Dr. Mokashi invited everybody for a conference on Bhakti at Oxford in April 26. Then we had Professor Priya Vaidya from the University of Bombay, a philosopher, teacher, and a teacher trainer, with a beautiful story that essentially we are trying to realize the meaning of the silence within. So presented a story to explain, let's experience and understand the silence that lies within us. Madam presented on Gurudev's philosophy and the need for global peace and global peace education. Stated that awareness leads to awakening towards holistic development. Brought about a lot of clarity of thought and sense of responsibility and the harmony through yoga in trying to develop peace education. The studies should be elevated to the next level in seeking solution to the modern ills in developing World Peace Index. As Madam referred, there is such a lot of treasure of work and the world is in a crisis. It's our responsibility to connect both and trying to find answers for questions. As a presidential address to these sessions, Professor Paneer Selvam concluded the session by stating that Indian philosophy should be a guide to global path of progress and peace. I can go on, but then time is very important. I thank the organizers and for this opportunity, and Jai Gurudev. Namaste.